That's right. We're back. They didn't cancel us after one show.
Ha!
They said, bring them back.
Hey,
Brendan
man,
Haywood was too
you
good. We even
tried.
got people reaching out. Brendan Haywood was my favorite Maverick.
Oh,
After you told that story about Tyson Chandler taking your job unbeknownst to you.
yeah,
Uh,
man.
so
I'm glad. I'm glad somebody liked that story. At the time, I didn't love it.
no, no doubt, no doubt. But you know what? Those are the kind of stories that fans love to hear because I think in some way they think that life as a professional athlete or an NBA player is just charmed from beginning to end, and they're like,
It's really
oh
not.
man.
It's
He's
really.
got
Listen,
problems like I got problems
in
like that at job. What's his name? He took
yeah,
over the shift, man.
yeah.
That's not fair. What's going
In
on? And the manager didn't even tell me. I lost my
That's what
shift.
happened. NBA players have problems just like regular people. You know.
So true. So true. That is Brendan Haywood. I'm Ric Bucher. This is Finding the Seams, as you were told at the top of the show. A show where we're going to talk both college basketball and NBA and how to make the grade in both places and how you move up. And so I have to ask, Brendan, how involved are you? How much attention do you pay to your alma mater, North Carolina, and what they're doing?
Man, I always love my Tar Heels. So I'm always super plugged in with the Tar Heels. I always want to see them do well. You know, I'm still cool with guys on the staff like Pat Sullivan and Sean May. Some of those guys, I still talk to them regularly. And Hubert Davis was my vet when I played for the Washington Wizards. Like he was my vet my first year. So I always want to see Coach Davis do well. So I really, really plugged into the Tar Heels. I know last year wasn't what the fan base wanted. Hopefully this year will be a little bit better, but I do have good news. Ain't no way we're gonna be worse than the football team. I tell you that.
Are
hey,
you
hey,
down with Bill Belichick, or are you wait and see?
I don't have nothing, no problem. With Bill Belichick, I just think people jumped the gun. They started calling it, "Oh, Carolina's going to be a football school."
Mm,
Chapel Bill. I'm like, hey man, hey, Bill without Tom Brady looking like might not be the secret sauce. So we might not get what we paid for. So I tell
yeah,
you, I don't know what Carolina. I think Carolina basketball is going to have a better year. I heard defensively we're going to be a lot better. But I tell you what, I can guarantee we will be better than the football team.
there you go. By the way, my wife is a Tar Heel. I'm going to get this right. She doesn't have that diploma that you have on the wall from
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina. She spent a couple of years there, and then you know what? She loved that Chapel Hill life a little too much. She had to go someplace else to finish up.
Hey man,
But I
hey,
have, but my in-laws are both Tar Heels, and they do have the piece of paper. And my wife,
I knew I liked you for a reason. You got a lot of Tar Heels around you,
I
so you
do,
know,
I do, I do.
yeah, yeah, it rubs off on you. You got good influences all around you.
I can't tell you that I can't tell you uh, how much value that had for me in the NBA with coaches and players who went to UNC and like they heard that I was connected somehow. You got like that is a very rich brotherhood, sisterhood family. If you have any connection to them, they consider
Yeah.
you part of the
You
family.
want to know what's crazy? We have a UNC current and like former players group chat,
Mm,
and it's just the greatest group chat ever because it spans from all age groups. You know, you might have somebody on there like Harrison Barnes or Danny Green,
wow.
but then you might have like Rashid or Stackhouse on the thing.
Really?
I'm in there, Antoine Jameson. Like we have a group chat that just has we have so many guys um, that played in the league and some that didn't even make the league in this incredible group chat. And so that's what Carolina is all about. Like you talk about that family atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like a lot of schools don't have that. Like it's literally a group chat where I might just get on there and start talking trash about the Kansas City Chiefs because I know Rasheed Wallace loves them and he's on there and he's going to go back and forth with me. And that's a different type of atmosphere that a lot of programs don't have.
Why is she a Kansas City Chiefs fan?
Hey, bro,
He's from Philly.
I don't ask she why he does nothing that he does. Okay, she gonna be she, and that's all you got to know about that.
Amen. Amen. I did a piece on him when he was with the Blazers.
Oh
The
boy,
backstory, the stuff that I couldn't write, Part of that
Whoo,
story? Oh
whoo.
my. Yeah. That was one that's actually one of my great regrets is I had such great access to Sheed. I mean, he really was great with me. Like we went in and did his radio show. We went and did like a public appearance. I hung with his boys, like the whole thing. And I didn't do the story justice because
Hmm.
I didn't know where to draw the line. Like
Hey, listen, you probably couldn't write the story correctly. You probably had a contact high.
I will say, when we were doing the radio show, yeah, it was flowing. Let's put it that way. All
Yeah.
right, so let's move on to one of the other teams that I assume you are still following because you ended up winning a championship with them, and that's the Dallas Mavericks, who are also of great interest because they have the number one pick, Cooper Flagg. We got to see him for the first time in NBA action, preseason action, albeit, but against the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder in name only because I didn't see too many of the regulars
Hmm.
out there. Nonetheless, I have to ask you, what were your first impressions of seeing Cooper Flagg out there playing NBA ball?
When I'm looking at Cooper Flag, I'm not making any sweeping judgments right away. Um, I see so many people do that. There's people that
Mm,
like, oh, he's not going to be a transcendent player. Then there I
mm,
see some people that think I've heard people say, man, he's destined to be a Hall of Famer.
mm,
And I'm just like, for me, I see a lot of things that I really love. I love the ball handling. I love the positional size. I love I love the effort and energy. Like you've never turned on a Cooper Flag game and thought, man, he's not bringing it tonight.
right.
And so he's going to be a player that's always going to check multiple boxes. He's going to on nights where he's not scoring, he's going to be able to get assists. On nights where he's not getting assists, he'll be able to get rebounds. He's good in the passing lanes. He's good as an on-ball defender. He's good as a weak side shot blocker. He's good blocking shots on the ball. He has so many different ways to affect the game that for me, I see all of that. I love it. The one thing that I'm waiting to see
Mm,
is he going to develop the go-to moves that make him a
mm,
franchise guy?
mm,
And if you
mm.
think back to Cooper Flag in the Final Four, game on the line, he didn't have that go-to move. And truthfully, I'm not saying he's supposed to have it because guess what? The guy was supposed to still be in high school last year.
Right.
But so he's way ahead of schedule, but that's going to be the difference between all-star player, good player, or franchise carrier. Can he develop the go-to moves that when it's time for us to win, hey, we can give this guy the ball. He about to start getting to his step back, his mid-range jumpers, all of those things. And that's what I'm really looking to see. And obviously, you're not going to see all of that in one preseason game.
Yeah. I'm glad that you are reserving judgment in the way that you are because, and you can confirm this, but my belief is so much of the accolades and where you are for there are certain guys that are always they can't miss, right? They're going to be
Right.
great. They're going to be Hall of Fame almost no matter where they go. But that's maybe 1%, I would say, of the players that come in the league. And everybody else, it's what do they build around you? How good is the franchise? How many times do you get to play on the biggest stage? How many championships do you get to play for?
Right.
I feel like as if that is a big part of it that is in many ways beyond the control of the player himself. And so I don't know if there's anybody that comes to mind for you when you think about that guy had Hall of Fame talent, or that guy was a great, great player, and he never quite got the due that he deserved simply because he was never with an organization or in a situation that allowed him to take full advantage of the ability that he had.
But there's a lot of players that are like that. Like, you have to understand every player, every championship level player isn't going to be LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron James can do whatever the game calls for that night. You need me to defend, I can do that. You need me to score, I can do that. Assist, whatever. If you look at like a guy like a Carmelo Anthony,
Hmm.
when you look at when did Carmelo Anthony have his most success? When he played with Chauncey Billups.
Yep. Both in
Because
Denver and in New York.
exactly because he had a point guard to take the ball out of his hands at
Mm-hmm.
times, and that guy would empower everybody else. And then Chauncey understood when to bring it back and give it to Melo. Well, I looked at so many teams where that point guard wasn't there, and those Melo teams weren't but so good. But Carmelo Anthony definitely could have been a championship level player. You just had to understand what building blocks needed to go with him. Yep. And like you said, Carmelo's just the first one that comes to mind, but there's a lot of guys that they're good enough to win a championship, but they're just not perfect players. You got to make sure you put the right pieces with them so you can get the most out of them.
Yeah. I agree 1,000%. I think that's why Carmelo Anthony was so good with with the Olympic teams as well.
Right.
Because you just allowed him to do what he did best, right? I would even say Kevin Durant in a lot of ways is in the same category, right? You just have to have that opportunity, and so many guys don't. I don't know that he's a championship player, but the guy that I immediately think of who was so much better than any of the accolades that he received, because basically he didn't receive any, is Rod Strickland. Rod Strickland, to me, as a point guard, was now Rod had a lot going on the side, but just as a player and what he was able to do and his IQ and his skills, the fact that he was never an all-star, I think he made one all-NBA team because he won the assist title that year. He's the first one I think of when I think of a player who was so much better than the awards that he received because he received none of them.
See, I didn't get a chance to really watch a lot of Rod Strickland because, simply put, and man, we were poor growing up, and so I didn't have cable. So the only games I could watch were the NBA on NBC, and Rod Strickland wasn't coming on those games.
He was.
They would only show certain games. If you have basic cable, at that point you're going to see the Lakers, the Knicks, the Bulls, Utah Jazz. They might sprinkle in some Seattle Supersonics, but you're going to watch the same teams over and over again. So growing up, my basis of who Rod Strickland was through video games. Yeah. I didn't really get a chance to really watch him play because when he was on those Spurs teams or when he was on teams like the Washington Bullets and those teams, they never came on TV. I never got a chance to watch him play.
I wonder how much of that is an influence too on what we were just talking about in terms of all NBA, Hall of Fame, all of that, in that because the media pays attention to it kills me that Stephen A. Smith says, I want the Lakers to be good because I'd rather go to LA than Oklahoma City. How can you, I understand that's probably
but Rick,
tongue in cheek.
But Rick, that's part of his act. That's part of
I know. I know. There's a lot of acts out there where I'm like, there's too many people who are taking you seriously when you say that. And I won't touch the thing that we just had about the guy that we don't want to talk about. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
I have no clue where you're going.
The second decision. Come on. I'm not going to touch it, and we're not going to talk about it. I swore, I promised myself coming into this show, we were not going to get into that because I do not want to get into it. But when we talk about people who do things, and I'm like, people take you seriously. You can't always kind of just mess around. Your status is too big. You're too big for that, to do things like that. Maybe I'm being overly sensitive to it, but that was my feeling about that and about Stephen A. I want the Lakers to win. You are, on some level, you're still a journalist. You're still on TV. You're still
but let's keep it a buck though.
Okay.
Wouldn't the NBA rather have the Lakers? If the NBA, if everything was equal, do you think they would rather have OKC playing in the finals or Luka and LeBron?
Oh, sure, I get you.
Exactly, the eyeball. And listen, the eyeballs when LeBron's name is mentioned is always going to be crazy. That's why so many people hated this second decision prank or promo that he pulled, because there's so many eyeballs, so many people take him seriously, and hey man, the league gonna miss Braun when he gone. They gonna miss him because no one else can even pull nothing like this off. The league gonna miss when the big fella finally steps away for sure. And I know some people thought he was going to step away for that fake decision, but not yet.
Yeah.
But the league is gonna, he carries so many shows on like a soft Tuesday night. Braun can play great or poorly, and you
Yeah.
can do segments about it all day long.
Yeah.
That all goes away when LeBron goes away. And I'm gonna be interested to see how guys that feed off LeBron's name,
Yeah.
how do they eat when he's gone?
Yeah.
Because he's feeding the beast right now. It's kind of similar to like Drake. Everybody was talking about, we wanted Drake to go away. We want Kendrick Lamar to win the beef. Well, when Drake goes away, you start noticing, hey man, these other guys aren't quite as popping as Drake. They
Yep.
don't have the same allure.
Yep.
The hip hop game is like, yo, we need Drake. We need him to give those features to those other rappers so that we care about rappers that we normally wouldn't. Hell, Drake had me jamming to a guy by the name of Block Boy J or something one summer. I know who the hell that is. Because when you have a certain level or a
Yeah.
certain aura or a certain level of celebrity, you raise everybody up around you. That's what Braun has. So whether you like the decision or not, just him being around is good for business, my man. It's good for business.
What do they
Block
say?
Boy J, that was the guy's
publicity,
name. Block Boy J.
all publicity is good publicity. That's
What they say.
That's
A lot of people say
that's
it.
LeBron James's motto, without question. Here's and we'll get off of this subject with this. Here's my issue with what Stephen A. said is that there's already a belief in the public that we, the media, and people like me who have been in the media my entire career, are prejudiced against the small markets. That we want the big markets to win, and that then affects our coverage and how we treat teams and all of that. And that goes to the heart of my integrity, as if I'm going to feel some different kind of way about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he plays in Oklahoma City and I'd rather see Luka. And so once you kind of put that out in the universe, then it feeds into that idea that we play favorites. And I've done everything I can in my career not to do that. In fact, I kind of pull for the underdogs. Dudes who make it in Oklahoma City that are, this is going to sound bad, are willing to live in Oklahoma City and ply their trade and do all that. Like, my hat is off to you, man. You are all about the work. You're not about any of the other stuff that comes with it, or certainly not as much. So that's what kind of creases me when I hear that said without any kind of letting you know, hey, I'm really just kidding.
Listen, man, it is what it is. I will say this though. I think the league is doing a great job of promoting OKC, and they're realizing that they have to make sure that their younger guys are getting a certain level of coverage. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at the playoffs. There were some games last year I was covering. Matter of fact, I was covering a playoff game in Denver. And I just got this vibe from everybody in Denver that they were pissed that NBA TV was there, because they were playing at the same time as OKC, and the league was making sure OKC was on. And you got the reigning MVP playing a playoff game on NBA TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sitting there, I can just tell. I was like, yo, like, they don't really want to talk to us, do they? They seem a little pissed. So, like, I could just tell that the league is like, hey, a memo has been passed.
Yeah.
This young team out there in OKC, we got to make sure that they're getting promoted as much as possible. They're the new it team. They're the future of our league. And so even though Stephen A. Smith might want to go to LA to kick it during the playoffs, trust me, it's going to be a lot of OKC coverage from here on out.
OKC, and if I'm looking at the Western Conference, they should call it the Southwest Conference coming up, because I'm looking at Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I have Dallas in my top 4.
No way.
I have Dallas in my top 4. I didn't stutter. What did I say? OKC, Houston, Dallas, and Denver are my top 4 in the Western Conference.
You're gonna have to defend this. You have to defend this point. Why do you have? And I'm a Maverick through and through. But why do you have Dallas over Minnesota, who's been to the conference championship 2 times in a row,
Yeah.
They have Anthony Edwards,
Yep.
and right now, Anthony Davis, ironically, looks a little bit heavy for Anthony Davis, which is weird because Dallas just shipped off their last superstar for being out of shape. It's funny how the world turns. All I'm saying is, right now, I love what Cooper Flagg can be.
Yeah.
But Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis right now can't go in front of Minnesota for what Ant-Man is. I've been hearing a lot of whispers that he's working on his mid-range and low post game, which is going to help him. I believe that's going to help him. I just like that team better. And say what you want to say as far as from a regular season standpoint, Rudy Gobert is going to help you defensively in the regular season.
Last year, Ant Edwards was working on his 3-point shot, which he improved.
Became the best in the league at it. Let's not shortchange it.
He did. How much did it help him? Like, I think Anthony Edwards is incredibly skilled, is going to become even more skilled. His decision making is what scares me. And with Mike Conley being another year older, I just feel as if, like, who's directing that team? Who is getting everybody organized? That's why I believe Minnesota, for as far as they've gone in the playoffs, is never, like, I'm thinking top 4 standings at the end of the year. Like, who ends up in the second round, having the chance to go to the conference finals is different. I'm just thinking top 4 records in the Western Conference, and that's where I'm putting Dallas in that mix, largely because I think their supporting cast is vastly underrated if healthy. Derek Lively, Max Christie, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford starting, Lively coming off the bench, Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis. I like their team, and I may be overreacting too much to one preseason game against the end of the bench Oklahoma City Thunder. But Cooper Flagg, to me, did not look like an 18-year-old. He did not look like a rookie. I'm not projecting what he's going to be, but he fit in seamlessly. All the things that you said about, like, his decision making, he was aggressive, but not too aggressive. He saw the floor. He handled it. He got after it defensively. I mean, his numbers for 14 minutes, he was 3 for 6 field goals, 2 for 3 on threes, made both of his free throws, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, no turnovers, 10 points and a +8. Now, box scores aren't everything, but if I was going to have a guy play 14 minutes who's a rookie, that's the box score I would want to see at the end of the day. I'd go, you know what? I think we might have something. So I may be over my skis on this, but I'll admit that.
I'm letting you cook. I'm
maybe a little excited about what I saw, but big part of it is, does AD stay healthy? Obviously. And anybody who wants to say that never happens, well, it kind of did happen the last couple of years in LA. He found a way to stay and not let every nick and ding take him out. So I'm going to trust that he's going to get back to that. And Kyrie Irving obviously has to come back and be a factor. But I look at the West, and for all the talent that Minnesota has, I've seen them fall short too many times. And I've seen Ant, for as talented as he is, blink when I need him to come through and be not just great individually, but make the right plays collectively, because ultimately that's the role that he's going to have to play. That's what you want your best player to play, no?
How old is Ant? 25?
Oh, here we go.
I'm just asking.
Look at all the experience that he has. I mean,
exactly. But I'm just asking because you gave everything for Cooper Flagg, right?
I'm not asking him to lead them somewhere.
I'm
just saying for his age, Cooper fit in perfectly.
Listen, if the Dallas Mavericks are going to be a top 4 team, I know what Anthony Davis is, but it's going to be because Cooper Flagg is way ahead of schedule. Because Kyrie's not going to come in until like the middle of the year. He's not to work his way in. He's going to get. Kyrie's probably not going to be the same Kyrie. If this team is going to be a top 4 team, it's going to be because Anthony Davis played his way into shape and Cooper Flagg is everything that everybody thinks he's going to be. Here is the one thing I would tell you about Anthony Edwards. First and foremost, he has one thing that I need every star to have, a rational confidence. And we talked about it. Every star does not have a rational confidence.
That's true.
He believes in himself.
He does.
At all times. The second thing is I love the fact that this is what I love to see from star players. He's adding layers to his game. So he goes into the playoffs last year and sees how they're playing him, and he becomes a better three-point shooter. This year he goes into the playoffs and sees, well, they're guarding me from three. They're not guarding these other guys, though. So now he starts adding the mid-range and the low-post game, and it's key that he's adding that. He's adding that so that he can score easier, do less, and it becomes so much harder to double team him. Yeah. And my example for that would be one Dirk Nowitzki. If you think about it, early on in the process, teams used to double him, get up underneath him, and Dirk would have moments where he would have key turnovers. We understood what happened with that Golden State Warriors team that knocked out his team. And then he got better in where? The mid to low post, the one-leg fadeaway J, and what we used to do in Dallas, when teams would double Dirk, and they damn sure wasn't guarding me on the weak side or Tyson Chandler. But what happened was we would put Dirk in the middle of the court, and now that double team becomes hard.
Yep.
Because, I can't score if I'm in the gym by myself. But guess what? I can always catch it and dunk it if I'm right by the rim.
Yep.
And if Dirk is at the free throw line, where's the double coming from? Me and Sean Marion would even play games on the weak side. Sometimes my man would be so locked into Dirk, I might just set a quick little bump screen. Sean would roll over the top of me, and Dirk would hit him for a wide open layup. You get a couple of actions like that on the weak side, because Dirk's attacking from 15 feet, it's easier to score. Yep. See, Ant Edwards is at the top of the key playing basketball like Tupac. All eyes on me. It's hard to make it like that. It's hard to make it. Because teams just say, we're going to load up boxes and elbows. We're not going to guard Julius, and we're not going to guard Rudy. We're going to load up on you. What Ant is doing from a low post standpoint and a mid post standpoint is giving himself versatility for when the playoff double teams come. It is super hard to double team a guy in the middle of the court. Think about Boston. Where do they love to get Jason Tatum? In the middle of the court, because it's easier for him to find guys on the weak side. So I like what Anthony Edwards is doing. And I love my Dallas Mavericks. I'm a Maverick through and through. But right now, when I talk about the four best teams that I see in the Western Conference, I got to go with, obviously, OKC. Yep. I love what Denver did in the offseason.
Me too.
Got to love Houston with KD. And, Ime is going to have those boys defending. Yep. And I'm probably going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves, because this team is actually way ahead of schedule. A very young Anthony Edwards has been to the Western Conference Finals 2 times in a row. Rudy Gobert's defense translates in the regular season. Playoffs, not so much. But in the regular season, we can't knock what the big fella does.
Yep. No, that's fair. That's fair. So where do you have the Dallas Mavericks in the West?
I got them in that group a little bit after that, where I'm trying, so I would probably have them around like that 6 to 8 area.
Okay.
And that's a fluid area, because I'm trying to figure out what's Memphis going to be.
Yeah.
That offense was a little bit different at the beginning of the year, and John Morant didn't really love it at first, but then down the stretch,
took the ball out of his hands.
That's why he doesn't love it. But then down the stretch, he got a little bit better playing that offense. So I want to see, what's Memphis going to look like? What are the Lakers going with a team like the Lakers? What are the Lakers going to look like? Hey, Luka's in shape. I know a lot of people think it's tongue in cheek, but he was killing the league about 40 pounds overweight. Please believe, if he's in shape, it's going to be a better show than what we're used to getting. And I think DeAndre Ayton helps them also. They didn't have anything inside last year down the stretch. That for some reason, the coaching staff didn't believe in Jackson Hayes. So I got to look at what the Lakers are going to do also. So Dallas is in that group. So there's a lot of teams after that top 4 that I'm waiting to give my opinion on after I see them play.
I'm just looking at what the common denominator is for these teams, and even like a Dallas Mavericks team, which is the big man is back, baby.
Right.
Teams are looking to play with size, even to the point where we have like a Cooper Flagg coming up and playing point forward, and you see that across the league. Luka Doncic, He's a
See,
power forward's body,
he's
right? Playing point
not
guard.
not now. He got a small forward body now.
Yeah, I don't know if I can quite go that far. Like he's a 3-4 at best, right? But my point being, like small ball, it feels as if small ball has run its course as far as the pace is. They're still trying to play with pace, but the willingness to put bigs out there. And what do you think has driven this movement back toward having legitimate centers like a Zach Edey? And you see it across the guys are being drafted, the Zach Edey's, the Donovan Klingons, Steven Adams still having a place with the Houston Rockets. Across the board, we are seeing legit bigs in a way that we hadn't seen before.
I think it comes down to bigs are improving, bigs are getting better. You brought up Memphis. You can play Zach Edey and you can be really big because you're playing a skilled big like Jaren Jackson Jr. right beside him. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. is hitting threes. He can put it down on the floor a little bit. This is a guy that, this is a defensive player of the year caliber player. But you look at how Jaren Jackson Jr. moves. He don't move like big men from the early 2000s.
True.
He is switching pick and rolls. So many teams understand, like, hey, if we have bigs that can play, not big stiffs, if we have bigs that can play, they can get out there, they can give us these offensive rebounds. We got bigs that are 7 feet, 6'10", 6'11", that can switch pick and rolls. We can run certain drop coverages. We can run different actions. And then when you have a really talented big that's also good on the offensive end, that really opens things up because now this guy can defend, but he can hit a corner three. That's where Jaren Jackson Jr. is so valuable. You can't run Jaren Jackson Jr. off the court. That's what they used to try to do to, I'll say, the bigs of like that 2010-ish area. They used to try to run guys like you saw Golden State back in the day. They tried to run Kevin Love off the court.
Right.
They ran guys like Al Jefferson and David Lee and those guys out the league. Like Roy Hibbert, all those style of big men got run out of the league. And now we're back because now big men are learning, okay, I have to shoot outside of 15 feet. I have to play outside of the box. I played against Brooke Lopez back in Jersey.
Right.
Okay? That's how long back
before
in
you
Jersey.
shooting threes.
Hey, Brooke Lopez played from 15 feet on in. Brooke Lopez seen how they were shipping bigs out the league, and next thing you know, he doesn't even go in the paint. He is allergic to the paint. But he has size. He can block shots, but he can shoot the corner and the top of the key three. So I think big men like Brooke Lopez is the perfect example. Big men now are adjusting their game. They're learning different things, and teams are drafting to that skill set because size still matters. Because you need rebounding. You need shot blocking. One of the reasons why I don't believe in the Golden State Warriors, they don't have any bigs that matter. Julius Randle was looking like the ghost of Charles Barkley when he was playing against those guys in that series. And then he ran into some real bigs the next series, and it kind of changed. So you need those big men. And the really good teams, they have big men, and then their big men are good. They're versatile. There's normally, like if you look at a OKC, you got a guy like Chet where, you're not running offense to him, but he's a lob threat. He can shoot the three. He can put it down. He's one of the best big men at switching the pick and roll. Just the fact that he can switch the pick and roll, that gives you 3 to 4 different coverages that you can throw at somebody. So big men are definitely back, and it's because they're improving.
Yeah. And not to mention, they go and get Isaiah Hartenstein, and that changes the whole dynamic, the whole framework. I don't know that they win a championship if Chet Holmgren is the starting center. Yes, he was the biggest big at times on the floor. But I
got to cut you off. I know they wouldn't have won a championship.
Okay.
Because Joker would have ran a muck.
He would have had his moment.
Joker would have had his way if the only big man on that team was Chet. So so Hartenstein was definitely needed.
Agreed. It's if you were playing at this time, like you were in the league at this time, what would you be working on? How would you, knowing what your abilities are, what kind of game do you think you could have built?
My game will be different. I'd be working on different things. Obviously, depending on how young I was, if I was really, really young, I'd be working on my ability to shoot the corner three and the top of the key three. Because bigs that can shoot from those areas create space for superstars. Other than that, I'd also be working like, back in the day, you wanted to be big and super strong.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to be as lean as possible. I'd be working on my footwork because the other aspect of being a big man is your ability to play pick and roll defense.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. These teams are running pick and roll after pick and roll after pick and roll. You have to be able to switch out on the guard, move your feet, not not be a liability, then get back in, get those rebounds. So it would be a lot more conditioning. Instead of trying to be like a 275, 280-pound big, 285-pound big man, I probably would have been trying to be in that 260-ish range. I also would have been working on like my catches inside would have been working on like Euro steps and being able to catching with like floaters and things of that nature because you want to be able to catch really quickly. That's another part of it too. If you can't catch a lob pass, you need to be able to catch, come down, and get that ball up on the rim quickly, and your team believes that you can score that. That's something that Hartenstein does incredibly well.
Yes,
like that little floater he has.
Yep.
Like you can't just when he rolls down the lane and he doesn't have a dunk, and he catches the ball. You can't just ignore him. And I love the fact that sometimes he'll throw the floater, but then sometimes it'll look like a floater. It'll be a lob to Chet. It'll be the big man action. So if those are the type of things I would be working on if I was a big man coming up in today's game.
Is the strength training different today as a result of what you said? Because I feel as if guys have tried to be, or teams are developing players to be wiry strong as opposed to muscly, bulky strong.
Yeah, it's totally different. You want to be strong, but teams are trying to be strong through the core area. From the top of your chest to about the top of your kneecaps. That's where you want to be strong. Like, nobody's trying to be built like, rest in peace, Anthony Mason. No players are trying to be built like that anymore. Guys still want to lift weights and guys still want to be strong, but it's a lot more core work. It's a lot of band work. It's a lot of doing strength work while balancing. Like no one's trying to just be this big muscle-bound guy like it was in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
you got to be strong, but it's more about being, like you said, wiry, strong through your core and being able to move. You got to be able to move and carry that weight. If you're 285 all muscle, you can't make it in today's game. They're going to put you in 1,000 pick and rolls and you're going to be slow.
Yeah. I can't help but feel as if the move toward bigs and more legit bigs, I'm not sure which came first. The increased physicality of the game, which then allows bigs to play and you can body up a little bit and use your size, and how they're calling the verticality at the rim, where it was like if there was any kind of contact or touch, it was a foul. And now they're allowing a lot more to play, which to me is okay. Now I can put a big out there and he's not going to immediately get into trouble.
Yeah, I think the first part of it is, I know for me, when I came in the league, you had bigs like Shaq, Yao Ming. You had really, like, offenses really ran through the low post. So because you had so many teams that had multiple, like, really good big men, you had to carry 3 big men just in case. And so the game was different. It was more played from the inside out. Then Golden State changed everything, and they really changed. They changed things for big men. Because there was a time when they just straight up ran big men out the league. People thought big men didn't exist.
Draymond Green did it.
Yeah. But everybody, that's one thing about Draymond. Draymond's wiry strong.
And way longer than you think.
Exactly. So he's able to guard your power forward or whoever on the block, but then switch out from a pick and roll standpoint. And so many bigs lack that level of defensive versatility that you think you can do it with another guy, but he ain't Draymond, and it just doesn't work. So big men right now, it is a lot different. You have to be able to guard in the pick and roll. Got to be able to give that rim protection as well, and that's really what it's all about. You brought up the level of verticality. You got to understand those rules. You got to play to those strengths, and you have to make your coach put you on the court.
Yeah. What's interesting is we saw Draymond Green run the bigs out of the league, and now the bigs are putting an expiration date on Draymond Green because he's having to guard guys at this stage of his career who are skilled and physically can do some things, can do the things that he did, right?
Well, life comes at you fast. Draymond started one wave, then he got older. It took the league probably about 3 or 4 drafts to catch up to Golden State.
Agreed.
And now it's like, yeah, these guys that you were running out the league, they're hybrid versions of you, but they're 6'11". They shoot it a little bit better. Hey, this guy can go on the block and get to a little mid-range fadeaway jumper. You might not be able to guard him quite as easily. So it's a different level. But regardless, what's Dre now? 35? 34?
30. Yeah, no, at least 35. He might. Yeah, I'll double check. But mid-30s, mid-30s without question.
Hey, listen, Dre. If Dre don't win nothing else, he's done enough.
Oh, he's done more than enough. And I don't know what your take is, but anybody who downgrades what his contribution to those championship teams, he was the X factor, as you said. Like, he transformed the game. He gave them a style of play that everybody had to catch up to. And for certainly having shooters like Steph and Clay is going to make you look good, but his ability to pass and read and connect with them on the floor and then defensively run the show, I'm never going to undervalue his part. He was as valuable to them in many ways as they were to him in terms of winning championships.
It was the perfect marriage. Like, there's a lot of people that don't like Draymond, and it's because they don't like his personality. They don't like the cursing at the official. They don't like all the rah-rah behavior. They don't like the bravado because it's different. Normally, your defensive anchor isn't the loudest voice in the room. It's normally your scorer. So that's why people don't like Draymond. Like, people normally when you have the cocky, arrogant guy, it's your Kobe Bryant. Yep. It's your Michael Jordan. It's your LeBron James. Your best players, is the loud, talkative
the biggest one. Personality.
But think about teams that won championships with defensive guys. Like, Ben Wallace wasn't the loudest person on the Detroit Pistons. Normally, the defensive guy is kind of dialed down a little bit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Rodman was famous for his actions, but it wasn't like he was the guy making all the comments after the game. It was Jordan and Pippen. And so for Draymond, people like to downgrade him because he's not a great scorer and they don't love his personality. But to your point, he was essential to go. Golden State couldn't have been Golden State without Draymond because small ball doesn't work unless you have a defensive player like Draymond.
Yep.
Like, I've noticed this in life too. If people don't like you, they will define you by your dysfunction. So, like, if you don't like Draymond, you'll define him by the fact that you don't think he's not a good offensive player. You'll ignore his passing. You'll ignore his basketball IQ. You'll ignore his defense. I'm going to give you that one for free. You can write this one down. If people don't like you, they will define you by your dysfunction.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Write it down. You still ain't wrote it down.
By the way, Draymond,
you're gonna forget it. You're gonna forget it, but you need to write it down.
No, I'm gonna clip it and put it out there for everybody. we're in a digital age. We're not an analog at this point. What do you want me to do?
I'm old, bro. I'm old. I'm still a little bit. I'm still old.
All right. By the way, Draymond was that way I was the sideline reporter for the Warriors for 2 years when he came into the league. He was that talkative. He had that bravado. He was that floor leader from the day he got there. And it was just and by the way, the whole small ball decision was by pure accident. If David Lee had never pulled his hamstring, I don't know that Draymond Green gets the opportunity to be the starting power forward on that team and transform the way that they play.
But guess what, though? But that's part of it, though. And because at that time, because people forget, David Lee was like 18 and 12 at that point. He was a walking double-double. A lot of coaching staffs would have just said, okay, David Lee's back. and put him right back into his starting position. But Golden State realized they had something. It's kind of
Mark Jackson was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I think we got something." Yep.
Was that Mark? No, I think that was Steve Kerr's first year.
No. Mark
Are you
was the
sure?
first one to
Are
move
you sure?
Draymond into that spot.
I'm a fact check on that. I think that was Steve Kerr's first
Okay.
year.
Okay.
I think that was Steve Kerr's first year.
We
Dinner.
will.
We'll bet a dinner on it.
Okay, we'll bet a dinner on it. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken,
I don't think. I don't.
if I get this one wrong, my memory really is
The
failing
only
me.
the only reason I don't think it was Mark Jackson because I remember playing like Mark Jackson still had Golden State running them old school sets, and Draymond wasn't successful in those. He had him running those like ISO. Mark Jackson still played ISO ball. He still played like old school '90s ISO basketball. I
They
remember like them going against that team, and he was like, okay, like this is when Klay Thompson was coming up, and he would like still try to get like Klay in an ISO situation, all that ball movement, and that's all. That was Steve Kerr because he
they
brought the
did
he brought the San Antonio Spurs playbook on steroids in there.
there certainly first year Mark was very much like that. Second year you started to see the transition. So, but we got a dinner bet on it.
That's fine.
We'll
We'll
see.
say, you know what? That's for another show too, because you got good inside information. You got to talk to us and tell us the inside scoop. Why has Mark Jackson never got another job? We're gonna say that though. We got to say
We
that. I
are
know
we
you
are
know.
going
I
to
know you
we are
know.
going to
I know.
save that. That
I know
one
you
that
know.
one is deep, and I will tell you there is interest in that because anytime anybody, like I mentioned that I was a sideline reporter when Mark was there, that is the first question. That is the first question that they asked me. So how come he's never got another job? And there's some real reasons behind
Oh yeah. I knew it was gonna be
behind
good.
all of
We're gonna
that.
get to it. We can't give it all to the first two
No, we
episodes,
can't.
but we're
No,
gonna get to it.
absolutely. One last thing before we leave the whole big man conversation. How different is it when when you're starting as you did when you first got to the Dallas Mavericks, and then you're coming off the bench as you were when Tyson Chandler got there? How different is your prep? How different is your role in terms of getting ready for the game and what you're expected to do?
I think your prep is still the same. If you whether you're starting or you're coming off the bench, your prep is still the same. You still got to know your rotations. You still got to know what the game plan is. The difference is the amount of leeway you get.
Hmm.
Because if you're the starter, hey man, you at least know you're going to be out there at the beginning of the first, beginning of the third quarter. If you're the backup, if you have some bad minutes, they might have to go back to the starting unit. You could get caught out there in a bad matchup. Anything like your minutes aren't as guaranteed. So sometimes that's why you'll see some guys come off the bench and they seem like they're pressing because their minutes aren't guaranteed. Whether you're a big man or you're a guard, like if you don't play well in the first half, you're not guaranteed to get in the second half. And
Hmm.
that would be the biggest adjustment from being a starter to being a role player. You don't know how to, depending on how the game goes. This team might go super small. You know, they might you might not play like that in the second half. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So that's probably the biggest adjustment.
I was just wondering physically because I always think of bigs like you guys have to do a little extra work to stay loose and ready. It always feels to me like the guards and the Lilliputians, like it's a little easier for them to bounce off the bench and get out there and get busy. Bigs feels like you got to be a little more warmed up, and I would think it's easier to do that when you're starting and getting rolling than and especially the pace of the game is different. You know, with the game starting, you can kind of you work your way into it. You come off the bench, things are already moving.
Yeah, when you come off the bench, like first and foremost, you got to have your heat packs on. You got to have your heat packs because you don't have time. Like you said, everybody else has been playing. You might not get it. Like you might not get in till 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and everybody else is warm. No one's giving you time to stretch. So
Hmm.
you got guys. You got your heat packs on. You making sure like. I don't even know if they still use this. We used to have this stuff called like. Do you remember the stuff Red Hot?
Yeah, yeah.
And listen, the red hot is the greatest gift, but the biggest curse ever. because you rub this stuff on like your
You get in the
thighs
wrong
and your
place.
hamstring, and man, you are hot and you are warm all game. But let me tell you, if you go too far, it can be trouble. It can be trouble for you. All I'm saying is, I think Red Hot should be banned and pulled off the market. And matter of fact, can I tell you a story about the Red Hot?
Absolutely.
So we're in DC. Obviously, most of my very funny stories are in DC because we were a wild team. Gilbert Arenas and Blatch have
Andre
been
Black.
having Andre Blatch have been having like a little bit of a prank war. They're pulling these pranks on each other. And I told you the Red Hot heats up on you super quick, and it will be hot like for you might be warm for like a full hour or two after the game. That's how hot Red Hot is.
Wow.
Yeah. Gilbert Arenas takes the Red Hot and he rubs it inside of Andre Blatch's tights,
No.
and Andre Blatch does not know. This man puts those tights on for practice, and he's screaming. Hey, listen. Hey, I guess the only way to like get the Red Hot off is like you got to like rub milk on it. So like Blatch is in the shower with a full gallon of milk, rubbing himself trying to get this Red Hot off those areas. I've never seen a player in so much agony in my life. Agent Zero was hilarious in DC. There were times when he went overboard, obviously, but man, there were some really funny stories, and that is one of them where he put the Red Hot in Andre Blatch's tights, and that man was in the shower like bathing in milk for like 15 minutes.
What did Andre Blatch do to deserve that?
I don't remember. Andre Blatch, Gilbert Arenas, and Nick Young used to have these like little prank wars and battles, and they just used to just be playing around. So I don't know what Blatch did to deserve that, but I do know that Gil put the Red Hot in Blatch's tights. Blatch did not know, and he put the tights on, and within about a minute and a half, he found out that there was some Red Hot in there.
This is the beauty of more athletes, particularly former athletes, having podcasts and being in the media, because we now get to see who they were or who they are personality wise. And it explains so much about the teams that they played on. Like Andre Blatch, Nick Young, and Gilbert Arenas.
JaVale McGee on that team too. JaVale McGee was on that team. JaVale McGee was on that team too.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So you take those four, what we know about them now, and you would say, how do you think they would do as a team? Are you kidding me? They've got no chance.
Hey man, listen. I'll always tell people this. I won way more games in Dallas. Yeah. But I had the most fun in DC. We weren't winning jack, but man, we had a good time.
That is so good. That is so good. All right. We didn't get to half of what we had planned to get to. We do want to talk about the Houston Rockets and what they're going to do without Fred VanVleet. You mentioned them in your top four. I mentioned them in my top four. We're going to save that because I don't want to just hit it and run here. That's a deep dive subject in terms of what we're expecting.
I'm going to let you know. Hit it and run was crazy.
You know what? You're not that old. You're not that old.
I got a 15-year-old at home. Hey, listen. So I can't get away. That game is played at my house at all times.
So in my TV life and my other TV life, between Paul Pierce, LaShawn McCoy, the number of times guys would say pause they'd look at you and you're like, come on, man. Like that's a phrase that I was allowed to use 5-10 years ago. And now because it has a whole different meaning, I can't use it.
No, I got a 15-year-old. All those moments get picked up easily. I'm naturally playing that game whether I want to or not.
Yeah. All right. I'll have to be more careful. I will be more careful going forward. All right.
Hit it and run was diabolical.
You know what? We could always edit it out. I'm
Just 2
going
weeks.
to go back and check it. We'll check it. All right. Brendan, as always, good times. I'll see you again next week.
All right, man. Thank you.